Hey, what is up YouTube? thyAshes here bringing you another video, and today we're going to be doing our 2K review and power rankings for November 5th, 2017, yesterday's 2K, which also ended last night. There again is no fight night this coming Wednesday. Instead they're airing like the new reality show or something like that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. All right, so as you can see in front of us, we have the brackets of last night's 2K, and on my other monitor, I have some notes of some of the more interesting things that happened. I tried my best to see as much as I could of the 2K, but between having company over and people not streaming, I'm pointing at you guys, Fire and Ice, and 88 Chambers, and United, and Excite, and half the other teams that didn't stream. But I did manage to catch a lot of the important matches. The first one and the exciting one for me was this 88 Chambers versus Allegiance matchup. The reason this was an important match is because if 88 Chambers won this match, I believe the way the pro seeding or the pro point seeding would work for Dallas, since this 2K was the end of the pro point seeding, as in today is the roster lock as of a half hour from me recording this video, 5 p.m. Eastern, is the roster lock for pool play teams. So if Allegiance lost to 88 Chambers, that put 88 Chambers within like a few points of being able to be top 8, which means they probably would have come down to a race between the two teams and grinding PCL matches. And if 88 Chambers would have then continued on and placed further, perhaps beating Ghost, then it would have been 88 Chambers as the number 8 seed. But as it turned out, Allegiance came out firing this week. Unlike last week where we saw them kind of crumble and fall apart due to internal issues, this week they were holding strong, they were sticking together, and they did come out on top on 88 Chambers. They 2-0'd them. So Allegiance locked in their top 8 seed, which means they should get funding in terms of travel, and they're obviously guaranteed a pool play spot. And we'll talk about what the pool play teams are based off the seeding points after we talk about the brackets and do the power rankings. So the next big matchup then on this side of the bracket is Ghost Gaming versus Allegiance. Ghost Gaming kind of, they had #1 seed, so they kind of had their easy way up here. And that put them up against Allegiance. The first map was Foundation, and it went 7-5 for Allegiance. This map was actually kind of funny to watch. Frank kept lagging out, or KO kept lagging out. And there was one round, I believe it was round 3. Allegiance was up 2-0, and then they were down. They had like 1 cap compared to Ghost's 2 cap, and Frank lagged out, and they still managed to win that round 4v5 and win the map 7-5. They struggled a little bit to close it out, but they finally did. Second map, Reclaimed, was much different story. Ghost came out strong. Allegiance is kind of, they're known to be bad on that map. They've struggled week after week on Reclaimed. I would say it's probably one of their weaker maps just based on what I've seen. Ghost wins 7-3 on Reclaimed, and then tiebreaker Dam came down to 6-6, with Allegiance honestly having like a 6-4 lead, and I believe it was 6-4, and then choking that lead to lose 7-6 on Dam, putting Ghost into the semifinals. Below them, United, same thing, kind of an easy way up. They played this top 2 Bounds team, which is Pell, Phenomenon, Munchies, Godfexen, and Flamesy. Beat them, which I think that's just a pickup team. And then they had to take on Fire and Ice, who had a pretty easy bracket. They played Excite, the only really notable team. This is the team with Kraz, Rosado, Vital Sam, Noxious, and Heza, and they took them out. Now, Fire and Ice, we haven't heard a lot from in the last 2 weeks, and this week, kind of the same story. United managed to take them out. I have no idea what the score was because neither team was streaming, but United came out on top, putting them into the semifinals against Ghost, where we saw actually a pretty impressive showing from United. They came out on top 7-3 on Lift and then 7-6 on Reclaimed to win the match 2-0 against Ghost Gaming and knock Ghost Gaming out as a top 4. And honestly, this should have been the second week in a row they did this. Last week they choked their lead on Lift, and then they just didn't show up for the other maps. So honestly, they could have done this 2 weeks in a row, but they're continually improving, and they're showing who they can be as a team, which is exciting to see. I've been saying all along in this series, I think we're like 7 episodes in now. I've been saying all along that United, once they find their groove, they'll be a good and top 4 team consistently, and now they're starting to show it in these 2K tournaments. We didn't have too much of a difficult bracket. We ended up playing the Gosu crew. Now this, interestingly enough, was the only team to take a map off us. And honestly, the guys were kind of goofing off. They won the first map pretty convincingly. Second map, they was Foundation. They lost 7-5, I think. And for those of you who don't know, the Gosu crew is the team with Fnatic, with DeFazio, Gearys, Draft, and Yogurt. So pretty good roster. Still kind of new. But yeah, they came out swinging for the Foundation. They won 7-5. The guys were goofing off a little bit, and then the guys closed it out on the third map. Now the Gosu crew knocked out Vanquish, which is another team that I've been kind of paying attention to. This is Aspire, for those of you who might not remember. Hezi, Mortifies, Razil, Sneaky exclusive. A really good team. Surprised a little bit that they lost to the Gosu crew. To me, that says that Vanquish is kind of meeting a ceiling, and they need to figure out a way to work past that ceiling that they're at and continue to improve. Because they've been floating around this spot now for a few weeks, and they need to figure out how to bust back into that top 8, top 4. But we took them out 2-1, Gosu crew, so that put us in the semifinals. Down in the bottom part of the bracket, Red Reserve climbing their way up. Their only real noticeable match was Vex Gaming, which I believe they won 2-0, but I'm not entirely sure. And then that put them in the quarterfinals against Echo Fox, who had an easy bracket as well. They played Mad Momentum, which Chubbs' team. So Red Reserve versus Echo Fox. Echo Fox won 7-0 on the first map, Reclaimed. Second map was one of Red Reserve's stronger maps in Forge Blitz. But Echo Fox still came out on top 7-6, winning the series 2-0 and putting them against us at OpTic Gaming in the semifinals. This brought the intensity back out of the guys. We played them on Reclaimed, and then we played them on Foundation, and then we played them on Harbor. Foundation was 7-4 in favor of us. Harbor was also 7-4 in favor of us. So again, another exciting series between Echo Fox and OpTic Gaming. Now, I know Echo Fox wasn't scrimming much this week because they had players moving. 3 players like moved in together in Texas somewhere. And then we didn't scrim for the last 3 or 4 days this week, just due to things that we had going on. So we were pretty evenly set in terms of like how much practice. I think we had a little more practice this week, and it showed. But nonetheless, a good clean series between those 2 teams, which takes us to the grand finals. Almost a repeat of last week, except United upsetting Ghost. I don't even know if it's an upset. I think United, well, we'll talk about that later. But United versus OpTic Gaming. The first map was Harbor, and I believe we won that 7-3, or I believe 7-3. Second map was, it might even been 7-2. I didn't write down the scores of the finals. And then second map was Dam. This was the map where you kind of saw us get off to a rough start. The guys were kind of goofing off if you were watching Explosive Stream. Then they started taking it serious. It got to a situation where basically went down 6-6. And then with an exciting trick strat on the last round, we came out on top 7-6, giving us the 2-0 win over United and making us this week's 2K champions. If you want to see what that trick chat was, make sure you go subscribe to twitch.tv/explosivo7, and you then can have access to his VODs and watch it. It was pretty entertaining. So now we're into the favorite part of the series where we do the power rankings. As always, we're only doing the top 8 teams from North America. We are not including Latin American teams. We are not including European teams, simply because it's too difficult to keep track of. And not enough teams from those regions stream outside of like the top team or 2 from EU and the top team or 2, Crack's team, World's Best, and Ronin from Latin America. So at number 1, I have to give it to us. There's no question in anybody's mind that we are back on top. I'm doing a lowercase t. No question in anyone's mind that we're back on top with 2 back-to-back 2K wins, performing well in scrims, so on and so forth. Number 2, I'm still going to give it to Echo Fox. I still think they're the better team out of the other top 4 teams, which now we kind of go into where I'm going to have my first change. I'm going to give United number 3 over Ghost. The reason for this is I feel like Ghost has been in a sort of funk lately. They haven't been playing as well. They haven't been doing as consistently well as they should be. I think their heads got a little bit too big from those 2K wins that they had earlier in the season when we were using a sub and when EchoFox was still trying to figure out their identity as this new roster. And now they're struggling in the sense of struggling against the top 4 teams. United should have won last week, in my opinion. They won this week in a pretty convincing fashion. So I have to give them the number 3 spot with Ghost coming in at number 4. I'm pretty sure these are just going to consistently be your top 4 teams. Now that we're seeing teams like Fire and Ice struggle to break into it, Allegiance struggle to find their footing, so on and so forth. At number 5, it's kind of a toss-up between Allegiance and Fire and Ice, but because Fire and Ice has been kind of struggling lately, I'm going to give it to ALG. I just haven't seen enough of Fire and Ice to really fairly give them the lead over ALG, where I've seen a good amount from ALG. But I am still going to give Fire and Ice the number 6 spot, and I'm going to give Red the number 7 spot, which gives us the number 8 spot. I have a few options. I have Vanquish, who lost to Gosu Crew. I have Gosu Crew. I have this Excite team, which I don't think they really qualify for that. 88 Chambers. I think I'm gonna have to give it to the Gosu Crew. I think this is the main team to watch out for. Again, I think the Vanquish roster is kind of hitting a ceiling. I think 88 Chambers kind of showed that they're inconsistent right now this week, where they performed so well last week, they didn't this week. So I think it's only fair to give it to the Gosu Crew for this number 8 spot in my power rankings. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar with it, this week is the week of the regional tournaments. So we will be in New York City with a substitute player competing against teams like Ghost, not EchoFox, Ghost, United, and some other teams. So make sure you tune into that. There will also be CMG going on in California that has EchoFox, Red Reserve, Allegiance. So both tournaments should be pretty entertaining tournaments to watch, and there will be no 2K this week. This is also the last tournament before last tournament for seeding points before Dallas. So let's go ahead and take a look at the seeding currently as of the roster lock in a few minutes for the Dallas tournament. All right, so as you guys can see, courtesy of Prodigy7KX, go follow him on Twitter at Prodigy7KX. He's a pretty good graphic designer. He's made some overlays like franchises overlay. And he made this little graphic to give us an idea of the seeding going into the Dallas tournament in December 1st through 3rd. So in number 1, we have Scuf Gaming with 52,700 pro points. Number 2, we have actually moved up with this win over EchoFox and 2K win. We are now the number 2 seed, 51,000 EchoFox in number 3, United in number 4, Fire and Ice in number 5, Vanquish, which is, Aspire in number 6, Red at number 7, Allegiance at number 8. That was kind of, you see how Allegiance and 88 Chambers are super close. And then you have Vex, the PCL grinders at number 10, Gosu Crew at number 11, and Munchie's team, who I'm not familiar with, at number 12. These are going to be your top 12, your pro teams for Dallas. Now, I will say that some of these teams are going to get cut off. I believe these 4 teams might get cut off because they do have to include the EU teams and the Latin American teams. So I don't know exactly how that's going to work out. It wouldn't surprise me if they include 2 Latin American and 2 EU or something of that nature, but I don't know exactly how it's going to work out. So it'll be interesting, but I think the top 8 are pretty much safe. Regardless, we're safe. So, but yeah, shout out to Prodigy again for this awesome graphic, giving you an idea of what the seating looks like going into Dallas. Guys, thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of these power rankings in the comments down below. As always, I appreciate the support. I hope you subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in the next video.